let's talk Hellblade Senua Sacrifice, my official review. I want to talk about how really unique of a game that Hellblade is. Hellblade is developed by Ninja Theory, the company who brought us the Devil May Cry remake, brought us Heavenly Sword on the PlayStation 3, Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Ninja Theory's always been very good at telling some really great stories. Heavenly Sword and Enslaved were two games that I really enjoyed from last generation, so I was curious to get my hands on Hellblade to kind of see where Ninja Theory would take this game. Now, for starters, this video game tackles some very heavy subject matter. This being psychosis, mental illness, and kind of bringing this front and center to the storytelling of this game. And while I don't want to go into huge details and kind of destroy the story, because I feel like the story is something that if you pick up the game, it's something that you should experience for yourselves, because it's got a very unique way that it tells the story, and we'll get into this here in just a little bit. But basically, the main concept of the story is you play as Senua, a young Celtic warrior who was on a quest to go to Hell, the Norse mythology Hell, to find the soul of her dead boyfriend and bring him back. So she embarks on this quest through these different areas, fighting these different Norse gods, fighting these different creatures, going through all these trials to get to the gates of Hell, open the gates of Hell, and ultimately take on Hela, so she's able to bring back her boyfriend's dead soul. And of course, as you go through, you find runestones in the game that give you a lot of lore that go into the Norse mythology, the Norse gods, and things like that. It's a very interesting way that they approach it. The storytelling also goes in and kind of tells the story of what's happening to Senua through the voices that come in her head. Different little things will pop up, kind of give you ideas of what's gone on, and basically her boyfriend was pretty much sacrificed at this point and was just kind of brutally murdered as a sacrifice for the gods, and she wants to bring him back. She was upset about this, but she also is cursed because her father locked her up as a kid. I mean, the story goes in some really, really heavy shit that needs to be explored. That's kind of the premise of the story and where it goes. This game's sound design, whoever did the sound design deserves an award for this game, because the sound design in itself makes a very exceptional experience. They utilize 3D sound, meaning they had these little headphones and they had these people who would circle around and almost talk in these microphones to help it so you could hear the different sounds through your different ears. So you might hear a voice over here in your left ear, and then you might hear the voice over here in your right ear. It just kind of all depends as to where it's going on. You may hear multiple voices and different sounds. You know, different sounds kind of go through the headset. This game needs to be played with headsets, by the way, for it to actually be experienced. I mean, I used a cheap headset, just little earbuds, and I thought the experience was absolutely amazing. I can only imagine what it would sound like if you had an actual expensive headset that got some really superior sound quality. But there are times that she's walking or that you hear sounds come through the headset where it legitimately sounds like something is behind you. There's times that you constantly feel like something is going to jump out at you and just scare the shit out of you, but it never does. I mean, this is something in the game that I realized a lot, is the game actually pulls off being creepy without actually being creepy. Because it's so... The best way to describe it is it's just so... It goes so far to make the game sound very creepy, that atmosphere. You know, as you're playing Senua, who suffers from a mental illness, which is something of in itself, and it's so well executed and so well done. The combat is not anything grand. It's not exceptional. It's pretty generic. It's a dumbed down version of Dark Souls, the best way to explain it. But even that being said, the game in itself does add the gameplay, or the combat is fun. It adds a sense of something to kind of do, gives you something to do, evade, strong, heavy attacks. It's all kind of there. And one thing that this game does that adds something very interesting to it is the permadeath factor. Permadeath, you die a lot in the game, your file gets erased, and you have to start back from the beginning. And this was a concept that I thought was very interesting in a lot of ways, because it's something that's never done. It's something that not very many games tried to do. So that was really interesting to do. So when it's always looming over you, shit, I just died. How many more times can I die before my file erase? It definitely intensifies the playing experience, which is something that I think is totally awesome. The few complaints I have about this game are few and far between. Sometimes the camera angle can be very irritating. If you get backed up enough by an enemy, a pillar can block Senua, so you have a hard time seeing it. You can get pushed up around a corner. A bunch of enemies just ransack you, and there's no way to escape. That's something definitely very frustrating. The only other thing that really irritated me about this game was them using live-action people. So you have Senua, who is a computer-generated character, and then you have these other people who are like recording cameras to look like real people. Enslaved Odyssey to the West did this as well, there towards the end, so it's kind of weird. I just wish that they hadn't have done it. Those are my two biggest complaints. And the last thing that I want to talk about with Hellblade, the last thing I want to bring up with Hellblade is it's the person who voices Senua. For those of you who do not know, this lady is the video editor at Ninja Theory. And no, she hasn't really done any voice work before, which is something just that blew my mind. Because this lady is so damn good. She sunk her heart and soul into bringing Senua's character to life. And she does just a wonderful job at motion capturing her. The emotions there, the voice work in this game is exceptional. That was something that really stood out to me, was how much went into the voice work in this game, and that goes along with the sound in itself. But this lady who did the voice for Senua did an amazing job at making her an exceptional character. So kudos to her, because that was something that just took me by surprise. And last and foremost, I mean, if you're looking for a very unique kind of approach to story, this game's definitely up your alley. It's definitely got a really great story, and it touches on some very heavy subject matter that it's interesting it's being explored in a video game, in a medium where you play as a character experiencing this and kind of get a feel for what it would be like if you were suffering from a mental illness yourself. So it's amazing how the game can kind of put you in that and make you feel that way. And this has been my official review of Hellblade Senua Sacrifice. I do recommend picking up this game, especially at the $30 price tag. I feel like $30 is a good, solid price for this game, and it's definitely worth your time and definitely worth your money. Your thoughts, your opinions, let me know on this. How do you guys think Hellblade Senua Sacrifice handled mental illness? Do you think it did very, very well? I'm curious to hear your opinions. Be sure to hit subscribe there for me to keep up to date with all of my content. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Those links are going to be down below in the description box. You guys have been watching The Spoony Bard. Most importantly, stay happy, be happy, game happy. The Spoony Bard is checking out.